The woman from a parallel universe. My name is Bill. Welcome to the Night Terrors Weekend Show. And we're starting right now. Catch the original classics on Rumble. All the classic shows in their original order. Yes, we have a Discord. Click on the link in the description below. This is our schedule. Brand X-Ray is a new addition to the lineup. These are single topic videos. And every one of the topics is guaranteed to have been banned by YouTube. This video series drops an episode every week, early Wednesday morning. And this means I am uploading videos with some fresh content for the first time in more than 4 years. So don't miss them. And Wednesday night is movie night. Oh, Taco with a suggestion already. Thank you, Taco. Hello, Rhino Rex. Green Tea, welcome. And Wednesday night is movie night where we see a terrifying double feature on Twitch together. Eldergrown, thank you for the super chat. Elder says it's Saturday night, and you know the drill. Tune in and hear spooky content with Bill. Thank you, Elder. Much appreciated, sir. Coming up this Wednesday, The Monolith Monsters is one of the most frightening science fiction films you will ever see. The enemy is not life as we know it. Meteoric rocks begin growing when water hits them. As long as moisture is present, they multiply. And then they threaten to crush everybody and everything in their path. It's a good flick. Followed by The Stranger, in which, after a freak mishap, an astronaut finds himself on an almost precise copy of Earth. However, this planet has 3 moons and is run by an Orwellian government called the Perfect Order. Welcome, Kangakong. Good to see you, dear. See, Ceratops is here. Welcome, sir. David Bryce says good evening, everyone. Hunted and Alone, the story traces the astronauts' efforts to evade capture and return home. By the way, tonight's topic, the woman from a parallel universe, this was my first viral video, and it happened really early. It was like my 3rd or 4th video. So I just realized that this month is my 10-year anniversary of being on YouTube. If you enjoy the show, please consider buying me a coffee. This supports the work I do for Night Terrors. Let's get started. There's a story here at infinityexplorers.com called The Incredible Story of Lerina Garcia, a woman from a parallel universe who woke up in a different reality. I'm paraphrasing. But I'm not going to read from the story. I'm going back to the original posts by Ms. Garcia. By the way, there's an update to the story, so you don't want to miss this. Here is Lerina Garcia's first post in some little-known forum on the web. It was posted in, it says here, July of 2008. I've seen June, but this is supposed to be from the original source at 6:30 p.m. in the evening. T. Ceratops says, I'm usually here watching, but I don't always remember to log into my own Twitch. I'm Rhino Rex's wife. I got a Twitch of my own to help support Bill. Thank you, T. Ceratops. Much appreciated, dear. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rhino Rex, for the suggestion. Oh, green tea with a suggestion. Almost missed it. Snake Rock in Thailand. Sounds interesting. And she begins, "Hello, my name is Lucy. I'm 41 years old, and I think I jumped into a parallel universe. Your universe. I find it hard to speak about this because everyone will think I'm psychotic. No one will believe me. Please, if anyone has had a similar experience, please respond to me by email. One day I woke up and the world was different. This is not a joke. Compared to when I went to bed, a lot had changed. Little things, but things that obviously indicated a turning point when my surroundings shifted. If I am having a dream, then you too are all having the same dream. If someone emails me that they are living in the same reality as me, then we most certainly are not dreaming. This happened about 4 months ago. I woke up as I normally would. I was in the same apartment where I had lived for 7 years. At first, everything looked the same, except the set of sheets on my bed had changed. I dismissed this as a trick of memory. After leaving the apartment, I had trouble finding my car. Parking is difficult in my neighborhood. I drove to the office, where I had worked for the last 20 years. However, when I approached my office, someone else's name was on the door. Mine was not. I thought I had the wrong floor, but no. It was supposed to be my office. Green Tea says, I wish my sheets would change themselves. The company directory still listed my name, but I was assigned to another department. Elder says, I'm always having dreams about losing my car. I was also reporting to a director I did not even know. I called HR, told them I had taken ill, and left the building. Excuse me. I went to my doctor and I was tested. Everything checked out good. When I went to work the next day and I was trying to learn unfamiliar work procedures, I was told I was out of step. I told them I wasn't feeling well. Was anything else in my apartment altered? I searched my personal file cabinet and could not find anything out of order. I thought maybe I had some kind of amnesia. Part of my life was missing. In my computer, I went online, and the news coincided with my memory of the previous day's headlines. Also, I must confess, I am not very good at geography, but the rest of the world seems to have the same countries and nations. I had recently broken up with my boyfriend of 7 years. I had started a relationship with a guy in my neighborhood. He has a young son. I've been with this man for a few months now. Of course, I know his name and address, where he works, where he attends night school. Now my new guy is gone. He existed before I came here, but I now can find no trace of him. He seems never to have existed. Some old woman lives in his apartment. I cannot find his son. And that's not the least of it. I soon learned I had never broken up with my old boyfriend. On this earth, I never left him in the first place. At this point, I was desperate. I went to a psychiatrist. He wasn't much help. He told me that hallucinations could be attributed to stress. I did not tell him that the stress began only after my jump. My own family does not remember certain incidents. They don't remember that my sister had surgery on her elbow. She denies the operation ever happened. Yet it's the little things that bother me most. And there are a lot of those things. Jinx, welcome, sir. Prime 114, good to see you. And there are a lot of those little things. There are dresses hanging in my closet that I didn't even buy. I found a post of mine online which I never wrote. I've done things I'm not conscious of having done. It's as if my former life was the dream. And for some reason I cannot fully explain to myself, I no longer want to break up with my old boyfriend. Please, and her please is in all caps. If anyone is going through something like this, please contact me. We can try to figure out what happened. I am not mentally ill, and I cannot find a reason for this nightmare. However, I have been reading a lot. I am convinced that I have leapt into a different world. Perhaps together we can discover how to jump back. Did the same thing happen to you? And again, this is from 2008. And here's the update. There's also an update to my video, posted 10 years ago. This is the first time I've recovered the topic, or revisited, let's say, revisited the topic. 6 years later, wrong section of notes. 6 years later, in 2014, in August, at 4:20 in the morning, Lerina Garcia Gordo, I forgot to mention the woman's name, isn't that horrible? Lerina Garcia Gordo posted a follow-up post, translated from the Spanish. I originally published a post on this obscure forum that seems to have exploded like gunpowder on the internet. 6 years ago, I was asking for help. I am astonished that if I look up my own name on Google, there are tens of thousands of results. My original post has been translated into many languages, and some of these translations are not very accurate. My original Spanish has been translated into other tongues and then retranslated back into Spanish, and so on, until it reaches a point where I sometimes do not recognize even my own experience. And each translator seems to add something different to the story. Maybe computer translation programs were used in some cases. Maybe on the internet everything is distorted. I have talked to physicists, psychiatrists, parapsychologists. I was looking for clues, but I have reached the point where I believe the answer must lie within myself. It is not enough to read other people's theories. You have to find the answer from within. This has led me nearest to the truth. I feel like every time I meditate, I can see a little more. Now I understand why some people who have knowledge do not share it. We live in a world of illusion. We love to believe we are energy that is eternally recycled, that good people will have good karma, and those who do not will be cockroaches in another incarnation. It's not like that. It's not like that. We are an old race, very old. But we are also zeros and ones. We are unsophisticated biological robots at the mercy of fate. This disappoints me, but it is what it is. The ancient gods were only men. Somewhere along the line, we lost those idols. When we came back, there were no gods. Even if we search for them, there is nothing to be found. Maybe we have become monsters. I pray that there is something more, but considering the cruelty of our reality, there's little difference between our lives and the lives of rats in some scientific experiment. I have received thousands of emails in all languages. 90% were from people just curious to know more. About 5% accused me of being fake and a liar for not publishing a photograph of myself or for failing to repost on the forum. To these people I say, I never wanted this notoriety. I did not even reveal my true name. The remaining emails, perhaps a few hundred, have actually helped me a lot. They related experiences similar to mine. Many of these other people's trials I consider more impressive than my own. Experiences that make mine a trifle. And those are the only two communications that the world has ever received from the woman who wishes to be known as Lerina Garcia Gordo. Kangakong says this experience has fractured her psyche. And that's about all I got for that, pal. Next up, we have our first suggestion. Let's get these on the list. T-Ceratops says, interesting story to be sure. Thank you, T-Ceratops. Eldergrown says, I wouldn't know how to deal with such a thing. Big L1 is here. Welcome, Big L1. Okay, let's go to those suggestions. Moving them from one side of my little list to the other side. Let's go with Oh No, It's Taco first. Her suggestion being, who unalived the people at Hinterkaifeck? Let's find out. The Hinterkaifeck unalivings. Kangagong says, I feel bad for her. She sounds like she's given up on life. Yeah, she sounds a little defeatist, doesn't she? James Anderson says, hello, everyone. From Taft, California. Welcome, James. Let's go to True Crime Database. Well, it's also a story from Mental Floss called The Chilling Story. Let's open up both of these because I think True Crime Database might have more details than's given in the regular press. So open up the database first, but we're going to look first at the story from mentalfloss.com. written by Sonja Wadamasky and entitled The Chilling Story of the Hinterkaifeck Unalivings, Germany's most famous unsolved crime. More than half a century later, says the caption, the unalivings at the Hinterkaifeck farm remain unsolved. And Sonja begins. Rhino Rex says, well, she's obviously been dealing with Reddit for a few years. If nothing else will make you nihilistic, Reddit will. Ain't that the truth, my friend? Austin Cloud says hello. Welcome, Austin. Alderon says, push a like to help Bill stream. That's right. Everybody hit that like button out there. Why is my chat not going over here? There it is. I hope there's not two of them. Send. The Hinterkaifeck farmstead was a lonesome place, located near the woods outside the Bavarian town of Grubern, about an hour's drive from Munich, oder München, and a half-mile behind or hinter the town of Kaifeck. It was the home of 35-year-old Victoria Gabrielle and her two children, 7-year-old Gazilia, and her 2-year-old Joseph, as well as her elderly parents, Andreas and Kazilia Gruber. Oh, it's not Gazilia, it's Kazilia. Yeah, it's Kazilia. The family was being known for keeping to themselves. Big surprise for a German. Still, neighbors grew concerned on April 1st, 1922, when young Kazilia missed school and the entire family failed to show up to the church, where Victoria was a member of the choir. Kazilia missed school again on April the 3rd, and by then mail for the family had begun to pile up at the local post. I guess you had to walk to the post office to get your mail in those days. On April the 4th, the family's neighbors decided to investigate. Lorenz Schlittenbauer, a farmer who lived nearby, led the search party. Taco, I love this story with all these German words in it. I get to use my pronunciation. What they discovered likely haunted them for the rest of their days. Oh, now I'm getting scared. In the barn, the search party found 4 battered bodies covered with hay. Inside the house, they discovered the bodies of 2-year-old Joseph and the maid Maria Baumgartner. It had been Baumgartner's first day on the job. Maybe there's a clue there. The previous maid had abandoned her position due to the fervent belief that the house and the farm were haunted. Green Tea asks, Bill, are you doing keto? Or is that jacket just very slimming? You look great. Thank you, Green Tea. You're so kind, ma'am. The reason I'm wearing the well-lined jacket this evening is because it's extremely cold. Usually I wear a thinner one, a hoodie, but it's extremely cold. If you haven't been following the U.S. weather, there's been cold snaps. Well, more than a cold snap. There's been freezing cold weather for weeks now. More than 2 weeks, I would say. It is not pleasant. Eldergrown says correctly, Bill's studio gets cold. That is true. Considering it's 10 levels underground. For more than a century, dozens of people have been arrested as suspects in this crime, although no one's ever been found guilty. The Hinterkaifeck unalivings remain one of Germany's eeriest and most famous unsolved crimes. Gotcha Man is here. Welcome, Gotcha Man. Gotcha Man predicts it will warm up next week, according to authorities. Thank you so God. Thank you so much. Gotcha Man. Thank you. Green Tea says this is the first day I haven't had to wear a jacket in the house. You lucky person. Eric Red is here. Eric Red says hell is freezing over. No doubt. The reports from the family's autopsies, conducted by the court physician, Dr. Johann Baptist Almüller, paint a horrifying picture of their injuries. The elder Kazelia showed signs of strangulation and 7 blows to the head, leaving her with a cracked skull. The face of her husband, Andreas, was caked with blood, and his cheekbones protruded from shredded flesh. Jupiter's Realm says hello. Welcome, Jupiter. Dinkum Aussie has arrived. Welcome, Dinkum. Victoria's skull was also smashed. Her head showed 9 star-shaped wounds, and the right side of her face had been hit with a blunt object. The younger Kazelia's lower jaw had been shattered, and her face and neck covered in circular wounds. While the elder Kazelia, Andreas, and Victoria likely died instantly from expertly delivered blows from a mattock, a pickaxe-like tool used for digging and chopping. I think that has two heads on it too, doesn't it? A mattock? Let's find out. Mattock. Yeah, it's got like a sharp end, like a spike, and then a blade end. Or it can vary, actually. It can have a vertical blade and a horizontal blade as well. Sometimes that blade is an axe. So different kinds here. There's one with a chisel point on one end. The Trooper 2.5-pound pick mattock. The autopsy found that the younger Kazelia likely remained alive and in shock for several hours after her attack. She had ripped out her own hair in clumps. Inside the farmhouse, little Josef and the maid Maria Baumgartner had met a similar fate. Maria was killed by crosswise blows to the head in her chambers, and Josef by a heavy blow to the face in his cot in Victoria's room. Like the bodies in the barn, theirs were also covered. Maria's with her sheets, and Josef's with one of his mother's dresses. The farm animals and a Pomeranian watchdog remained unharmed. Chillingly, they had even been fed in the days that passed between the unalivings and the discovery of the bodies. Green Tea says that sounds personal, no doubt. Rhino Rex says the hood while reading scary stories is just too good. Welcome, Hiram Bot. He says maybe it was an ads. Police initially suspected vagrants or other traveling men of ill repute, but tossed out this theory after large sums of money were found within the house. Besides the bodies and the hay and bedsheets used to cover them, nothing had been disturbed. Though the killer clearly remained at the farm for several days, feeding the animals, eating meals, lighting fires in the hearth. When the police questioned the former maid about her belief that the property was haunted, she said she had come to that conclusion after constantly hearing sounds in the attic and experiencing an unsettling feeling of being watched. That reminds me of those crazy people that you hear stories about that like are living in people's homes and the people in the home don't know it. They crawl out of their holes at night and help themselves to the people's food and stuff. Though Andreas had not believed her, the maid, he too had confided in neighbors about some strange happenings in the days before the unalivings. A newspaper he did not buy was found in his home. Jesus, the guy's reading newspaper in the home. And a set of footsteps was discovered leading from the forest to the farmstead. The footsteps were set in pristine snow, leading in only one direction. Nobody at Hinterkaifeck knew to whom they belonged. Eldergone says perhaps squatters. Kangakong says hiding in walls and secret rooms. I've seen a couple of movies about that. That's creepy stuff, man. T-Ceratops says people have found others living in their attics, etc. for ages. To make matters even stranger, one of the family's two keys disappeared shortly before the unalivings. Combined with the footsteps from the woods, sounds in the attic, and a smoking chimney in the days following the crime, these odd details comprise a profile of a ruthless intruder who may have taken up residence in the house. Look at this old photo. The Hinterkaifeck farm, says the caption, a few days after the unalivings. Okay. It's a farm. I am nonplussed. King of Kong agrees that hiding people are totally creepy stuff. A woman after my own heart. I love creepy stuff. Suspicion eventually settled on several men connected to the family. I don't think they were connected, if it was that case. In part because of some domestic turbulence at the farm. Victoria was a widow whose husband had died in the First World War, and her son Josef's father remains unidentified to this day. She did have a relationship with Lawrence Schlittenbauer, or Schiebebauer, the man who had led the search party that discovered the bodies, and both had publicly referred to Josef as their child. So I guess the kid was their child. They planned to get married until Andreas interfered and their relationship ended. What? Schlittenbauer eventually married someone else, and they had a child who died in infancy. Police zeroed in on Schlittenbauer as a suspect. They theorized that, traumatized by the unaliving of his child and unwilling to pay child support for Josef, he had come to the farm, located only a few hundred yards from his own. How convenient. And unalived Victoria and her family. But then why? But then he's not going to be living at the place. Unless he has to convince his family that they are still alive, and that's why he's traveling from his farm to theirs and putting wood in the fireplace and burning it, and so his family can see smoke coming out of the chimney, as well as the neighbors, I imagine, if they're that closely packed. But are farms usually closely packed? Not usually. So maybe this is an unusual situation where these two farms were near each other. The theory was bolstered by the fact that those with him during the initial investigation had found his behavior suspicious. They said he acted nonchalant, viewing and handling the bodies without signs of repulsion. Wow, that kind of cinches it, right? He also knew his way around the farm. No kidding. The police questioned Schlittenbauer extensively, but were unable to conclusively place him at the crime scene. His behavior could be explained by shock, they reasoned, and his knowledge of the farm by his relationship with Victoria. With Schlittenbauer eliminated, the police considered Victoria's husband, Carl Gabriel. He was a suspect because they theorized he was actually alive and had come back from the war and killed them. That theory did not last long. They soon discovered he had been slain in France on December 29th, 1914, which would be 8 years prior to the unalivings. Welcome, Dinkamasi, to Twitch. Many of his fellow soldiers attested to seeing his body. Another theory floated at the time was that Josef was actually the child of Victoria and her own father, Andreas, and that one of them had killed the entire family before turning the matic on themselves. Andreati's proclivities for incest and abuse were frequently discussed in the neighboring town. Supposedly, Andreas had other children with Kazilia besides Victoria, but she was the only one to survive his violent hands into adulthood. But none of the injuries to the bodies could be explained as self-inflicted. So it wasn't possible that the crimes were a unaliving self-harm. It was a double term, that's why I almost read it. It's a blank blank. Unaliving self-harm. I'm sorry, unaliving self-harm. Gene Roddenberry says hello. Welcome, Gene. I like your handle. That's Gene spelled G-E-A-N, by the way. But none of the injuries to the bodies could be explained as self-inflicted. So it wasn't possible that the crimes, I said that already, were a unaliving self-harm perpetrated by Victoria or Andreas. Green Tea says, back in the day, country folks not far from the railroad would often find vagrants in their barns. Just that alone is creepy. They must have been desperate. The unaliver had to be someone who didn't live at the farm. But who? How did they excuse Mr. Neighbor? How did they excuse him? Only one thing could be stated with any degree of certainty. The crimes had been committed by someone who knew their way around a farm, as evidenced by the continued upkeep after the murders, and by the expert wielding of the matic. The brutality of the murders suggested they had been committed by someone with a personal vendetta. Excuse me. Against one or several of the Grubers. But police at the time failed to come up with answers and eventually closed the case, though it would not remain closed. It says here, a cenotaph marks the site of the Hinterkaifeck farmhouse. Oh, this is today, huh? Of course, it's gone today. The Hinterkaifeck case has been reopened several times. Even clairvoyants have been given a chance at it. In his book, Hinterkaifeck, Spuren eines mysteriösen Verbrechens, or Hinterkaifeck, Traces of a Mysterious Crime, author Peter Leuschner details how the bodies of the Gruber family and the maid were beheaded not long after the original autopsies, and the skulls were sent on to Munich, where they were examined for metaphysical clues. I don't think he means metaphysical. What do you call that? The people that do the autopsies. There's a name for those kind of doctors. Ask ChatGPT. Forensics, thank you. Forensic doctors, thank you, Elder. Forensic doctors don't look for metaphysical clues. I'm sure that's some kind of mistake there. Probably just means physical. It says, it claims here, sadly, the skulls did not speak, but I would love to read those autopsy notes. Maybe they're at the True Crime Database. Let's find out. Related file cases. Related. I wonder how related. Fact sheet. Their farmstead. The investigations. Testimony. I want to see written by Nucleus. Maybe there's another true crime database. Probably is. This is just like stories. When I say stories, I mean not fictional prose, but these are just articles, basically. I remember us once going to a crime database that gave details like autopsies. Welcome, Sir Ledoux. Welcome, Jonathan A. Jonathan A says, I haven't been here for a long while now. Has Bill lost weight? Yes, thank God I have. I've lost about 85 pounds. And I did that with a diet that was 600 calories a day, which isn't easy unless you have the help of nicotine, which I would not recommend. But I did have that help. And I'm now trying to... What was I going to do? Oh, go find the other crime database. Ask chat. Ask AI, right? What is the most detailed crime database on the internet? United States FBI Crime Reporting Program, National Incident-Based Reporting System. That's impressive, says T-Ceratops. Thank you, dear. Eric Red says 80 pounds. That's like the weight of a kid or 2 5-gallon buckets of concrete. Eric also says congratulations. Thank you, Eric. Jonathan A says bravo, Bill. Looking good and feeling good, yeah. Other than getting old. I'm sued to enter eligibility for Social Security. National missing. United Nations. We need to revise our questions. What about an internet site that is not government funded? Please add as a condition that the internet site is not government funded. The Unaliving Accountability Project. CrimeMapping.com. Whoops, dragon is still on. Turn off the dragon or you will have problems. It says tracking serial killers it specializes in. CrimeMapping.com. Interactive crime maps based on police department data. Spot crime. Crime mapping site. Project Cold Case. For murders across the U.S. Uh-oh, I said the M word. Jonathan A. asks, what's the topic for tonight? If you want to rewind, the topic is the woman from a parallel universe. An update on my video posted 10 years ago, and it's the 10-year anniversary of my YouTube career this month. I chose as the topic my first video that went viral. The one on Lerina, Garcia, Gordo. Crime Door, privately run true crime, offering AR experiences and in-depth crime case archives. That sounds good. What about for international crimes as an additional condition? Okay. Bellingcat, an investigative journalism organization specializing in war crimes, organized crimes, and corruption. Havoc Scope, privately run database tracking black market activities, human trafficking, the drug trade, and organized crime worldwide. Dinkum Aussie says 2015 was a great year. Thank you, very kind, sir. Thank you, Dinkum. Elderground reminds us, everyone feel free to suggest topics for the show. The show is topic fueled by you, the viewer. Thank you, Elder. Oh, and also, yeah, as Elder says, also throw in some highlights with my name so it draws my eye. Otherwise, with the rate of chat, it'll be gone and before you know it. Green Tea says, happy anniversary month. Thank you, Green Tea. So does T. Ceratops. Thank you, T. Well done, says Ono. It's Taco. Thank you, Taco. Organized crime. Trace International, global database tracking bribery, corruption, white-collar crime. Cybercrime. Open corporates crime. Unidentified wiki, huh? A crowdsourced global database of unidentified bodies and missing persons. So close. Crypto crime. Crimes involving cryptocurrency. How about, as another condition, crimes limited to Germany? Identifying non-government funded crime databases focused exclusively on Germany is challenging, as most comprehensive crime data is maintained by official agencies. Kent Speak is here. Can't Speak says, if you prepared criterias for what you consider a trustworthy source of criterias or verification of sources, you could go, here are my criteria. Do your research within these parameters. Yeah, but I'm thinking of one at a time, so that's why I'm adding them one at a time. Two Feathers, hey babe. Can't Speak says ahoy, also known as HOTS. However, some independent organizations and platforms provide valuable insights into crime within Germany, global organized crime, info migrants, and the European Conservative. This publication provides articles and reports on crime data in Germany, including analyses of crime trends and stats. I don't think we're going to find it online. Sadly, the skulls did not speak to the forensic doctors. Forensic pathologist? Joseph Winnie, hey. Oh, thank you. Oh, wait, we got a thank you, Gotcha Man. We're going to open up a link from Gotcha Man. We'll do that. Coming up. Thank you, Gotcha. Let me just remind myself we have that link from Gotcha Man, as well as a further suggestion from Taco. Thank you, Taco. Let's move those into the active area. Stop it. I'm doing these in reverse order, so it's going to be Gotcha Man and then Taco. Okay. No, wait. They are not reverse order. Gotcha Man and Taco. Because we're doing Taco first. That's right. The following year, the farm was demolished. The family lays interred without their heads, which were sent to Munich for forensic analysis, in a plot in Weidhofen. The skulls were lost during the Second World War. Initial evidence gathered at the crime scene is either lost or too old and degraded to give up any secrets. Although in 2007, the Fürstenfeldbruck Police Academy took the Hinterkaifeck murders on as a cold case. Because of the relatively basic forensic techniques employed during the original investigation, as well as missing evidence and the later deaths of some suspects, they were able to conclusively identify the murderer. Unable to conclusively identify the unaliver, though they did all agree on a theory. They did all agree on a theory, it says here. Thank you, Elder, for the suggestion. Recap. Ooh, I like those. Oh, that's Eric the Reds. I see that one. Thank you, Elder. Let me get Eric the Reds first. Not sure where the man from what? Not sure where spontaneous human combustion comes from. Looking for long words. Not finding them. Let me just copy it from Elder, who is indispensable. And moving those over in order. Eric, Elder. Mondo V, welcome. Mondo V says, Bill is ignoring me. He must be mad. No, I'm not mad, Mondo. I love Mondo. Mondo is my brother. All right. They did all agree on a theory. Out of respect for surviving family members of people related to the crime, however, that theory remains a secret. What? You gots to be kidding me. At this point, it seems unlikely the public will ever... They got a theory. We're not going to tell you. At this point, it seems unlikely the public will ever know who committed the unalivings or why. Whatever secrets the Gruber family kept in life and death, they now slumber alongside them in the grave. Philip Blair, hey. Philip Blair asks, have you joined the ancient, serene, and magnificent order of the Knights Red Riding Hood? No, but it is dang cold in this studio, man. It is cold in this studio. Normally, I just wear a hoodie. This is insulated. Yes, gotcha, man. I got your suggestion. I even opened it up in a tab, and it's here listed in order. Speaking of gotcha, man. Wrong list. Where's the right list? Here it is. Don't forget, coming up this Wednesday. Wrong one. Don't forget, coming up this Wednesday. It's our Night Terrors double feature night, only on Twitch, and guest hosted by Gotcha Man. First is the Monolith Monsters. Some kind of silica meteor crashes into Earth, and when water hits it, it makes it grow. If you touch them, the minute amount of moisture that leaves your body will start to turn you to stone as surely as if you viewed Medusa face to face. The concept is quite original, reads one review on IMDb. A sudden thunderstorm accelerates the growth of the skyscraper-sized crystals, and they threaten to overrun Earth. This science fiction effort is a real winner just because it feels so fresh and original in light of other genre efforts, followed by The Stranger, in which an astronaut is in space one moment, and the next thing he knows, he wakes up in a hospital. The doctors are trying to act like everything is normal, but they are actually watching him closely. They know he's an alien and comes from the planet called Earth. These people look and act like humans, but they also live in a parallel world that is not quite the same. The government is repressive, and its way of dealing with problems is violent. Can our astronaut manage to survive and even get help from the locals to get back to Earth? Don't miss it. I'm going to be there. Be there or be square. Where are we at? There we are. Oh, that's the end of the story. Okay. Now let's go to that crime, quote-unquote, database. Unsolved mystery database. Close. Here at the truecrimedatabase.com, it includes the Hinterkaifeck murders in the small Bavarian farmstead of Hinterkaifeck. Well, we did this already. We got a bunch of suggestions. Let's go to the next suggestion. I'm leaving this here, and next up is... Why is my stuff like this? Not sure. No, this is right. Elder, la 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 la. Taco. Edit. We got to delete that. Next up. And Rhino Rex is here. I have a past suggestion from Rhino Rex. And that suggestion is the Flannan Isle Lighthouse Mystery. Elder Grown quoting me. Thank you, Elder. Elder says, quote, why is my stuff like this? Bill 2025. I am flattered, Elder. Thank you. Yeah, let's do the Flannan Isle, of which I have done a video about. Geez, I forgot to do this, but I think first we were about 22 after the hour. It's now 1 minute past the hour. How am I going to remember the horrible Hinterkaifeck unalivings? I guess spelling it out all in one word, Hinterkaifeck. And add 2 minutes after the hour. It is we'll find out now from Rhino Rex, the Flannan Isle Lighthouse Mystery. It said all that's interesting, but sometimes they're just there's a pointer to videos. Royal Museum has a page on the mystery. Scott Bonata is here. Welcome, Scott. There's a Reddit discussion on the mystery. What is that? I got a cat hair in my mouth. Discovery Channel covered it. Discovery Channel UK. Atlas Obscura is usually brief. Wikipedia has an article on it. Reddit, another thread on it. Let's try Lighthouse Digest. Whoa, I think I can do a Control Plus on this. I can. Oh, now I can read it. Here at lighthousedigest.com is a story by T.M. Jacobs. The mysterious disappearance of the Flannan Islands lighthouse keepers. In the Western Isles of Scotland sits a cluster of small islands known as the Flannans. Their largest, Eileen Moor, meaning Big Island in Gaelic, is barely 39 acres in size. Now, an acre is a lot of land. And 39 acres is a lot of land. So it's a pretty big island, rising above the stormy North Atlantic Ocean. It was here that a 74-foot-high lighthouse was constructed and lit for the first time in 1899. It flashed twice in rapid succession every 30 seconds to send a candle power beam 24 nautical miles out to sea to guide passing vessels safely around Cape Wrath and onward toward Pentland Firth. I like that cat thing, Dinkum. But that's our cat would never allow it to itself to be held for that long. That's how. Look. I think I see a human arm behind there. helping the cat dance from, and you're not supposed to grab them underneath their armpits. If you have to lift a cat, you're supposed to do it by the neck. Even though I've read that you're not supposed to grab them by the neck if they're adult, only if they're kittens. That's where adults grab the kittens when they're small and move them around. They grab them by the neck. A Darwinian evolution of cat flesh there. But I've also heard recently, don't lift them up on the arms, because as you probably know, they don't spread very wide that way, and they really don't. So I've stopped doing that. It's the only thing I ever did when I was a kid. We had cats when I was younger. But now I do it exclusively by the scruff of the neck. Doesn't seem to bother her. So, but she would never stand for me holding her from the scruff of the neck and swinging her around like a pendulum. She barely likes to be touched. We're lucky she does like to be scratched, though. And it was here 1 year later that the 3 lightkeepers assigned to operate and maintain that light disappeared without a trace. More than 100 years have passed, and the fate of the Flannan Isle Lighthouse keepers remains one of Scotland's enduring mysteries. On December 15th, 1900, just days following the first anniversary of the light being powered for the first time, it says here being lit, because back then it was lit. It was lit, man. Captain Holman of the steamer Arctur, bound for Leith, Scotland, noticed the light was out and reported the outage by wireless. I lost wireless. To the Cosmopolitan Lines steamer's headquarters. Headquarters failed to notify the Northern Lighthouse Board because other more pressing matters caused it to escape from memory, end quote. Occasionally, keeper Roderick Mackenzie, who was responsible for observing the light from nearby Gallon Head, also failed to notice the outage. People are talking about the yeah, I guess they communicated by Morse code then, right? By telegraph? I wonder if it was telegraph. Let's find out. For how long was the telegraph used for wireless communication from ship to shore? For about 70 years, from early 1900s to the mid-20th century. So yeah, it would have been a telegraph. And something interesting I learned maybe last year, SOS, which I already knew was 3 dots, 3 dashes, and 3 dots, which most people might think was a dot, 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 dash, 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 dot, 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 or how am I going to do this sound? I have no sound. I usually have sound devices around me, but not today. In other words, beep, 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 beep. I recently learned, well, last year I learned that telegraph operators do it really rapidly. In other words, maybe you can hear this, can you? Yeah, they do it like, I can't even do it as fast as they do. Let me try it again. Something like that. Faster than that. Anyway, back to the topic. Relief keepers due to the island on December 20th were delayed by severe storms and did not arrive until the 26th, the day after Christmas. Captain Jim Harvey, noting that the usual relief flag was not flying and the landing was empty, studied the relief vessel's whistle and shot a signal flare, sounded the relief vessel's whistle and shot a signal flare, neither of which elicited any response. He then ordered relief keeper Joseph Moore to row ashore in the dinghy and investigate. Landing on the island, Moore found the gate and the outside door to the keeper's quarter closed. Inside, the kitchen door was open, and he noted the clock had stopped and that the fire was not lit. Finding no trace of the keepers, whose names were James Duckett, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur, Moore hurried back to the relief boat to notify Captain Harvey, who then ordered 4 members of his crew to return to the island with Moore to investigate. According to various accounts, the investigating party found lamps were cleaned and refilled, ready for nighttime. An upturned chair lay on the floor alongside the table. In the clothes locker stood one set of oilskins, a rain jacket, and a pair of wellies, galoshes. The other 2 sets of oilskins and wellies were missing. Outside, iron railings were bent. A life buoy had been ripped from its mountings, and a stone weighing over a ton had been displaced high up on the island, and was still there, but there was no trace of the lightkeepers. Almost immediately, a telegram was sent to William Murdoch, Secretary of the Northern Lighthouse Board Office, which stated, "A dreadful accident has happened at the Flannans. The 3 keepers, Duckett, Marshall, and MacArthur, had disappeared from the island. On our arrival there this afternoon, no sign of life was to be seen there. Jonathan A. says, I should be hosting Coast to Coast AM. You have the vocal chops for it. Thank you, Jonathan. Much appreciated, sir. Green Tea says, decoding Morse while it's streaming is tough. Definitely a learned skill. Gotcha Man says, I tried to learn Morse when I was young so I could get into ham radio, but I couldn't figure it out. And I was already nerdy enough. Eric Red never knew about the stone displaced on the island. The locals learned of the tragedy as the Highland News ran the headline, "The Flannan Islands Disaster, a Mystery of the Deep." This is 1922, mind you. They were quickly reminded of the previous tragedies to befall the Flannan Islands in less than a year. 1 man fell to his death from the lantern gallery, and 4 men drowned when their boat overturned, approaching the landing at Eileen Moor. Yet over 100 years later, the mystery still remains as to what happened to the Flannan Island keepers. Duckett had not wanted to be stationed at Eileen Moor. He may have had a premonition about the place. He had appealed to Robert Moorhead, superintendent of the Northern Lighthouse Board, saying it was not the most suitable place for a man with a young family. Moorhead insisted, however, saying that he wanted a reliable, experienced, and conscientious crew to man the new station, and he wanted Duckett, with his 21 years in the military service, to be the principal keeper. Thomas Marshall was appointed second assistant, and William Ross was named first assistant. During the first year, however, Ross became ill, and Donald MacArthur, an occasional keeper, was sent to replace him. To a lone keeper, the solitary life can be peaceful and idyllic. But Duckett, Marshall, and MacArthur did not experience an idyllic life on Eileen Moor. To survive, they were required to raise and slaughter their own sheep and poultry. At least they had eggs, right? Grow their own vegetables and catch their own fish. They had minimal contact with the mainland. Also, with 3 men confined to small quarters for lengthy periods of time, personalities can clash and even turn deadly. When their disappearance was discovered, a new crew was assigned and the investigation continued. Excuse me. With one chair found overturned, the kitchen door left open, and a set of rain gear left behind, it appeared the last person had left the quarters in a hurry. Why then would that person take the time to close the outside door as well as the gate? Immediately surrounding. It's a little bit of a trek to get to the landing, I guess. Duckett's log was current up to December the 15th, with details for the 14th written in chalk on a slate. He had noted weather conditions, state of the light, supplies, and barometric and thermal readings. He had also entered the time of extinguishing the light. He had also entered the time that the light was extinguished as the dawn of December 15th, and wind direction at 9 a.m. Therefore, the light had been turned off on the morning of the 15th and had not been turned back on that evening when the Arcator passed. The Arcator being, I guess, the ship that realized that the lighthouse was not working. Michael Joseph, a researcher investigating the mystery, noted that the morning's routine duties had been performed subsequent to that hour. The big lamps in the lantern tower had been trimmed in readiness for another night's vigil. The canteens and oil fountains were primed. The lens and mechanism had been cleaned and polished in the usual way after a night's revolving. They did the best they could to improve that late, too. I don't know what today's lenses look like, but that back then they were wild looking. I don't have it open here, but I have a picture somewhere. What do they call it? A lantern what? Lantern what? Lens? Lighthouse lens? Let's try lens. Lighthouse lens. Yeah, they're like this. They're all concentric. I think you call that a Fresnel lens, I think. I used to say Fresnel, but I guess the word is French. So I guess you would say Fresnel, I imagine. Let's look at this one. This is a nice one here. Nice picture, too. That part that opens is evidently solid. not transparent through the window. Is that true? Hard to tell if there's a window up there. I would say yes. I would guess yes. I guess they're still like that. How about modern? This looks kind of modern. Let's get back to the story. On December 29th, Superintendent Moorhead arrived on the scene accompanied by 2 experienced keepers. They concluded it was probably MacArthur who left in a hurry, knocking over the chair. They surmised that Ducat and Marshall had gone out to check the security of the equipment at the West Landing, leaving MacArthur in quarters to deal with chores. They further speculated that from his vantage point, MacArthur observed a series of exceptional waves approaching and dashed out to warn Ducat and Marshall. When he reached them, it was too late, and all 3 men were washed out to sea. This was considered by most to be the likely scenario, although it was not fully endorsed by the Northern Lighthouse Board. In a violent storm, 3 experienced keepers would not have ventured outside for any reason. The board also noted that while a furious gale was pounding the islands on December 12th and 13th, it had calmed considerably by the 14th. They acknowledged, however, that rogue waves, several feet high, following Atlantic storms are not uncommon. Researcher Richard Wilson has disputed this theory. He noted, considering the rule that a lighthouse should not be left unmanned, all 3 men would not be out at the same time, unless the last man was called to some dire emergency. But if such an emergency had indeed been discovered at the West Landing, how could the last man, occasional keeper Donald MacArthur, have been summoned to it? Neither visual signal nor cried-out sound would have reached him. The West Landing was too far away and obscured from sight. Yet the fact that the kitchen chair was toppled and that MacArthur's coat and wellings were left behind suggests that he did indeed make a dash outdoors in his shirt sleeves in a freezing December day. But if he were in such a hurry, why did he then bother to shut the doors and the gates behind him? Others theorized that one of the 3 keepers became enraged at the other 2 and pushed them over the cliff to the rocks below, and then threw himself after. Still others speculated that a giant marauding bird had snatched them, or that they had been abducted by aliens. Historically, the Flannan Isles have been marked by superstition from the time they were named for the obscure Saint Flann. That makes me laugh because it's also the name of a food. Ha! Prayers were supposedly said by all who set foot on the Isles. It was also said that the phantoms of the 7 hunters so resented the intrusion of the lighthouse, the building of the lighthouse, I guess, that he lured the men over the cliff to their death, In any event, another 70 years passed without further incident, and in 1971, the light was modernized and automated, making keepers unnecessary. In our research, we were unable to locate any photographs of the keepers, who disappeared. Apparently, even those have disappeared, writes the author. Gatchaman says, merfolk are more believable than Big Bird. They have merfolk legends too. You better believe it. Scotland? I kid you not. Part of their culture. The lonely Flannan Island light continues to scan the ocean, looking for a trace of its long-lost keepers. And I think that was from, yes, Eric Red store. Eric Red. Thank you, Eric Red. Next up, 26 past the hour. A suggestion from Gatchaman. Kenga Kong says, that's what I was thinking too, Bill. Flan. I know. Why is that so funny to me? The Isles of Flan. Well, these isles are more sturdy than Flan. Rhino Rex said Big Bird might have come to take them to Sesame Street. One thing I like about Oscar the Grouch is that his trash can is bigger on the inside than the outside. Like, he has like a swimming pool down there and stuff like that. I always thought that was pretty cool. Jonathan A. requests lizard people. I will put it in the list, Jonathan. Thank you. Thank you, John. So next up is Gatchaman. And Gatchaman's topic is... Whoop, got the wrong one. Still have Jonathan's there. It's now 28 past the hour. And Gatchaman's idea is... Oh, that's a link. I have it up front. The Japanese woman who lived undetected in a stranger's closet for a year. In 2008, a 57-year-old man from Kasai, let me get this pronunciation right, Kasuya Fukuoka, noticed that several items in his kitchen began to disappear slowly. He blamed himself at first, thinking he could have become a sleepwalker. This story at koreaboo.com, and written by Christine Fernandez. Dinkamasi says, Fukuaku, you too. Philip Blair, hello. Philip Blair says, Gazoon Tight Bill. Not sure what that means, but thank you, Philip. And Ms. Fernandez continues. Unfortunately, the food in his home continued to disappear. Paranoia set in, and he began to increase his security measures. He kept his windows shut and made sure to lock his door before leaving. He also installed surveillance cameras and linked them to an app on his phone. It was this decision that finally led to the arrest of the culprit. The man got the fight of his life when he played back the cameras while at work. He saw a woman moving around his house as if she lived there. Ooh, there's a still. Yeah, that's pretty creepy. She took food from his refrigerator, ate a few bites, then moved to the living room to watch TV. When she was done with her meal, she cleaned up the living room and left. Well, at least she cleans up after herself, right? What a good roommate. King Kong, of course, says, that is so scary. Freaks me out too, hon. Dinkum says she's on top of that cabinet like a cat. Well, I think she's coming down from the attic, maybe. Right? Gotta be she's coming down from the attic on top of this thing that just conveniently happens to be an empty shelf right under her hidey hole. But at least she's conscientious. The resident called the police and turned in his evidence. The police investigation revealed the details behind this 1 in a million intrusion. Rhino Rex says, that's what gave her away. It was a bachelor's apartment. There's no way his living room is ever clean without someone else breaking in to do it. Gotcha Man says, I would build her a closet in which to live. She could be my maid, my ghost maid. Green Tea says, did she live there before? King Kong says she looks young. We'll find out, Green Tea. The culprit was none other than 58-year-old, ooh, limber for 58, Tatsuko Horikawa, a homeless woman who snuck inside after the man kept the door to his house unlocked. Once in, she never left, at least until a year later when the police arrived. The police found that not only did the resident unwittingly share his food and entertainment facilities, but also his sleeping quarters and his bathroom. Of course, the bathroom, but the sleeping quarters. Horikawa apparently slept in the top of the closet where he kept his mattress, which was a futon. It was just large enough for her to lay in vertically. And there she slept on her own, thin futon, surrounded by bottles of water. Got to be able to get a big drink of water when you need it, right? Taco agrees for 58. She was pretty agile. Elder says, lock your doors, friends. As if guilty for intruding on the old man, as if feeling guilty, Horikawa did her best to help keep the area neat and tidy. She minimized her mess and even cleaned the man's toilet and shower after each use. It was confirmed she did not steal any money or any other item of value. And that's it. I would like to hear details on when the police arrived and stuff. That's pretty cool, Gotcha Man. Thank you. Next up at 35 minutes after the hour, a suggestion from Green Tea, to wit, is Snake Rock in Thailand a real petrified snake or just a cool rock? Snake Rock. Many people believe that the snake rocks of the Naka Cave are remains of a fossilized or giant petrified serpent. Naga Cave in Thailand looks like a giant petrified snake, according to Reddit. The Hidden Secret, a video we can't see. Eric Red says YouTube censored Praveen, I forget Praveen's last name. Praveen's a famous YouTuber. Asian videos featuring the Naga carvings. Praveen is always censored. No kidding, Eric. I didn't know that. Rhino Rex correctly observes, back to mud fossil. Green Tea says the pictures are quite compelling. Let's go for pictures. Where are they? Where are they? Here, right? Yeah. Gotta remember, Google is my image search engine. I should make it Yandex. Look at that. Well, that's fairly snake-like. This one looks like it's better contrast. From, it looks like thearchaeologist.com. It looks like, open link, open image, a new tab. Wow. Yeah, it does. Just like a snake. Maybe it was carved, though, huh? Let's find out. What are the details? What are the deets? Fact check. Green Tea says it even has scales. Philip Blair asks, why Yandex? Yeah, Google sucks. Google censors the results, which is why we should go to Yandex now. I'm going to write that down. Google to Yandex. Search. There's thearchaeologist.org. Ancient fossil. Let's do that one. Ancient fossil. Cave in Thailand. Looks like a giant petrified snake by Jake Carter. Naka Cave, or Naga Cave, is located in Phu Langka National Park, which is in the Bueng Khang Long district of Bueng Khang Province, Thailand. Naka means snake in the Thai language, and the cave took its name from the texture of some stones in the area, resembling the skin of a snake. Look at that. They even have the coils. Oh, come on. That's got to be like carved by early man, right? Can't speak as a Paradelia fan. In addition, the cave's interior walls are coated with minerals that gleam, giving the appearance of the typical white underbelly. There is an unsettling rock formation within that looks like the petrified teeth of a snake-like creature as well. Gotchaman says it's that temple from Conan. Serpents feature heavily in Buddhist lore and are revered as water guardians who dwell within caves. A Naga is a creature that resides in the netherworld. According to legend, It is half human, half snake, but can shift to human form and walk among us. And maybe shift to snake form. Let's ask AI if it can. What's it, Thai mythology? According to Thai mythology, can the Naga morph completely into the form of a snake? Or is it limited to morphing to human form? In Thai mythology, Naga are serpent-like beings with powerful supernatural abilities. Their shape-shifting capabilities vary across different myths and sources, but generally they can morph both ways, either into a full human or complete snake. So it got petrified, obviously, when it was morphed into the snake form. Welcome, Synchro 505. Michael is here. Welcome, Mike. Philip Blair says, I think the creature might be on the flag of Bhutan. Let's check out the flag of Bhutan. But first we'll ask AI. Is it also represented on the flag of Bhutan? AI claims not. AI claims that the serpent on the flag of Bhutan is the Druk, a thunder dragon, a central symbol in Bhutanese mythology, associated with thunder, power, and the state of Bhutan. State power. Interesting. Okay, we're not going to go into Bhutan. We got enough going on with Thailand. Please close this annoying ad. That's here. According to officials at Flannan National Park, the snake scales are about 100,000 years old. Well, that would put it within the human realm, right? Let's ask AI. How many hundreds of thousands of years has Homo sapiens existed? $300,000 years. While the rock formation is thought to be that age, it was only discovered in 2020. 5 years ago, by a team of council officials cleaning water tanks in the national park. Isn't that something? We're current. Oh, look at the eye. That's got to have been carved. Come on, people. That has to have been carved. But this one's on the ground. So there's more than one Naga. In Buddhist lore, the giant snake rock takes after the mythological snake called the Naga. Oh, wait. No, we're over now, right? No. They're just repeating themselves. Legend has it that the Mekong River in northeastern Thailand. It's a pretty good carving, says Taco. Yeah, that carving's pretty good, yeah. No doubt. In northeastern Thailand and Laos, was actually created by two Naga kings, slithering in the area that's now part of Flannan National Park. Eric Red says AI is reptilian. If we're to stay faithful to the legends of yore, then the snake rock might have been one of the Naga kings, resigned to a long slumber. Except there's one on the ground and one in the air? Did it break off? AI, sir. AI. Why do I find two giant snake heads, pictures of two giant snake heads, representing the Naga of Thailand, when some sources indicate there is only one? Due to variations of regional beliefs, artistic represented cultural influences. No, I asked the wrong question. Shoot. It thinks I'm asking about sculpture. And there must be a 1,000 snakeheads representing the Naga of Thailand. I mean, 2 photographs from the national park. Heads. Oh, you're referring to it actually says, you're referring to the giant serpent head sculptures at Flannan National Park in Thailand. Why do some photos show 2 Naga heads? Some photos capture the landscape from angles that make it look like 2, while those represent a single elongated. I don't know. Did we see one on the ground? Where did we see that picture? Is that at our story? Yeah. No caption. That's definitely on the damn ground. AI is not that smart. Maybe it broke off. Geez, I hope the kid who was bouncing up and down on it didn't get hurt. Is that the same head? Article? Meet Google head search. But we have it open already, right? I don't know if that's the same head. There seems to be less of a curve here underneath. There's an obvious eye here. It's hard to see because the eye area, there does seem to be a depression because an eye-like black dark blob here. But this seems much more curved. There's also 3 sections of block comprising the height of the head, which is not really in great evidence here. Maybe there's more than one snake head in Fulanka. Rhino says, that one looks almost like a turtle, the one on the ground, that is. T-Ceratops agrees. Gotcha Man says, a kid jumping up and down on it. With my 6th sense of humor, I think it would be funnier if there was a tiny skeleton beneath it. Many people have suggested the strange rock patterns are the ancient fossils of a giant snake. The remains of the largest snake that ever roamed the earth, known as the Titanoboa. I'm sorry. Titanoboa. Titanoboa, a boa being a snake, I guess, right? Titan being large. Titanoboa. Titanoboa. Eldergrown knew it already. The Titanoboa was a snake that slithered around during the Pliocene. This is the Paleocene. This is misspelled. The Paleocene. I'm going to ask AI if that's spelled right or not. Is this word, whoops. Is this word misspelled? No, the word Paleocene is not misspelled. It refers to a geological epoch. Then what is the Pleistocene? The Pleistocene is another geological epoch, but it comes much later than the Paleocene. Okay. Thank you, AI. Philip Blair asks, did Titanoboas eat the fossil record's largest rodent? Thank you, Philip. Green tea with a link. Thank you, Green tea. The world's biggest snake is so huge, it had to be lifted by crane from the rainforest. How many feet long was it? A maybe anticlimactic 10 feet. But do they have a picture? Get out of here, ad. The snake was discovered in a Dominican rainforest. Picture. What kind of snake was it? Please identify the snake. They never identify the snake. I don't understand. If it's 10 feet long, it says here native to the island is the deadly boa constrictor, which can grow up to 13 feet. I do not see the name of the snake. My apologies. Keep scrolling, it says. Scroll down to see it, Green Tea says. Oh, it's a python. No. The longest snake ever recorded was the reticulated python. Usually found in Southeast Asia. I'm not finding the name of it, Green Tea. I'm sorry, Green Tea. I can't find the name of it. My apologies, ma'am. You passed it. It's on the crane. Uh-oh. I still don't see it, Green Tea. Get out of here, advertisement. Can you copy and paste the name or do your best spelling of it in chat? That's it, says Green Tea. I'm not seeing it, my friend. Can you paste it in chat? Gotcha Man says the jungle camo is working. The name itself was camouflaged. I don't have the name, just the picture. Oh, I misunderstood. My apologies. Okay. But so that is the end of the story. Cool stuff, man. Thank you, Green Tea, for the Thank you, Green Tea, for the suggestion. Next up is the end of the show. I will carry over suggestions to the next show in case we run out. Right there, says Eldergrown. Dinkum Aussie says if it's in the Amazon, it could be an anaconda. Thank you, Dinkum. But we haven't finished the story. The Titanoboa is estimated. Congratulations, Dinkum Aussie. Dinkum Aussie says, great show. It is estimated that Titanoboa were 42 feet long and weighed over 1,000 tons. What? 1,000 tons? You mean 1,000? You mean half a ton, right? No way. I don't think so. However, while these snakes were indeed massive creatures, it is thought they only grew 2 feet wide, so that would not explain the cave. 2 feet wide. How much did a Titanoboa weigh? Kenga Kong says, great show. Thank you, Kenga Kong, for the super chat. Kenga Kong says, great show, Bill. I always go for a good Naga story. Most historians today believe it was humans that carved the patterns into the cave. Whew. Finally justified. A sort of homage to the mythical serpent. In any case, the place is amazing and has not yet revealed all of its mysteries. Stone snakes fascinate and cause awe, both among locals and tourists. Sources and references. Discovered the ancient snake weighing a ton. You see, a snake weighing a ton. So, half a ton. Weigh elephants. That reminds me of a joke. There was an ant who fell in love with an elephant. And they made passionate love all night long. And time goes by, and I think the gestation period for elephants is, what, over a year, right? Maybe 16 months? I don't know for sure. But I'm pretty sure it's over a year. And she was showing. So the ant says, one night of passion, and the rest of my life I have to dig a grave. Anyway, coming up this Wednesday, don't forget, it is the Monolith Monsters. One of the most frightening science fiction films you will ever see. The enemy is not life as we know it. Meteoric rocks begin growing whenever exposed to moisture or water. And as long as they multiply, they threaten to crush everybody and everything around them. Good flick. Followed by The Stranger, in which after a freak mishap, an astronaut finds himself on an almost precise copy of Earth. However, this planet has 3 moons and is run by an Orwellian government called the Perfect Order. Hunted and alone, the story traces this astronaut's efforts to evade capture and return home. We'll see you there. May God bless and protect you all.